What is going on, guys? This is Game Nut here, and I'm going to go over the newest trailer of Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. This is trailer 1, that's what it says in the title, so there might be multiple trailers, which means I might make more of these trailer analysis videos. But for now, we're going to do trailer 1 of this Sister Location game. Now I'm going to break down everything in the trailer. I'm not going to make up too many theories or anything like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at these first few seconds of the trailer. Now I'm going to slow it down right here, but these specific words pop up. Now when the trailer begins and you see the first trailer of Five Nights at Freddy's 1, the word after that shows fear, and then the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer shows, and that shows panic, and then the 3 follows and it says dread, and then 4th comes and then it says terror. Now I don't know if these 4 words have like an actual meaning to if it's trying to send a message, or if it's just like building up to a tense moment showing that, you know, all these 4 games, the first 4 games were very terrifying, and now it's showing off the trailer of, you know, the 5th Five Nights at Freddy's game, which is Sister Location, and it's just building up hype, I guess. I don't know whether it's actually delivering a message or if it's just for, you know, the trailer purposes. But we're gonna have a little bit of an English class right now, and the first word that appears in the trailer is fear, and the definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. That's basically talking about the animatronics, and you know, you have that fear of the animatronics getting closer to you. Now the next word that pops up is panic, and panic has a definition of sudden, uncontrollable fear or anxiety, often causing wildly unthinking behavior. And that's pretty much, you know, what happens when you get an uncontrollable amount of fear. You panic. And that's what a lot of people do in Five Nights at Freddy's games. When they start getting close, they start to panic, and you know, that's the fear coming into you. And I guess these animatronics are trying to deliver a certain message, like they want to scare you and they're mad or something like that. I don't know what they feel, but they're robots, and maybe like the kids' souls are trapped in the robots, and maybe like they hate the world, or I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to put too much speculation, but that's basically what happens when you get, you know, too scared. Basically, the definition of dread is to anticipate with great apprehension or fear, and the definition of apprehension is anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. So you actually have a fear that something bad's going to happen, like animatronics getting closer to you. You have apprehension and you fear that, you know, an unpleasant feeling that something bad's going to happen. They're getting closer and you feel that fear. And terror is basically the same thing, extreme fear. Now, after that English class is over, all you hear is the word fear. It's always fear, fear, fear in all these definitions. So this next game, Sister Location, is trying to scare the crap out of you, honestly. I mean, just look at these faces. Like, if you pause right here and you look inside of Baby's face, which is this animatronic's name, you see freaking needles poking out. And I think there's several needles, like millions of needles stuck, like attached to their exoskeleton or whatever, endoskeleton, and they all move separately. And I think that's why they have those parts, because these spikes things keep like spratting out. It's like they want to explode, but they can't, and they're trapped under that face. And it's like when they do get scary, I'm thinking in this game, when they do get really scary and they really try to scare you or something like that, whatever these animatronics are trying to do, their faces are going to open up, and then they're going to have needles poking in your face, and like that's going to be really, really scary. Like, I can't imagine a face full of needles coming in and hitting my face like that. I don't know. But let's go ahead and just move on more into the trailer. This next part that shows up, it looks like you are in a really cramped up room, and there's 2 giant doors in front of you. Now I'm guessing that this is probably an elevator, and you can tell because if you look just out the window at this frame, you can see a floor, and it looks like that floor is sitting on some sort of platform, and you might be actually going down into the underground area. And later on in this trailer, it says something about being underground. I'm not sure, but we'll get to that in a moment. Don't call me crazy here, but in this next scene, it looks like you just turn around, because in the first scene where you were looking at the 2 double doors, you actually see tiles on the wall. And if you look at this clip right here, you see those same tiles on the wall. So I think you're in the same room, but this room is way too small for, you know, animatronics to move in. So I'm thinking, don't call me crazy, I'm just throwing this out there, but I believe you are in a submarine and you are going down in the water to this underground base of where these animatronics are located, because this room you're in is way too small for a Five Nights at Freddy's game. So this must be some form of transportation. Just look at the big windows in front of you, and why does everything look like nothing out there? You're probably traveling through the ocean and it's dark outside. Now this next scene, we're going to go ahead and pause it and look at this poster up here. This poster looks like it shows the baby animatronic, and it also says celebrate at the top. I'm not sure if it does say celebrate, but judging by the first 3 letters I see, it says celebrate to me, honestly. But if we actually go over a little bit, we see that there's 2 puppets, and one looks like to be a monkey and one looks like to be some kind of boy. Almost like Balloon Boy, honestly. Also, there's one more thing about the room that I want to point out. If you look at the bottom left corner of this scene right here, you see oxygen tanks. These look like oxygen tanks for diving purposes. You know how when divers go into the water and they have to put those tanks on their back so they can have oxygen to breathe? That looks like those. I mean, they could be helium tanks, they could be anything, you know, for balloons, but if it really is underwater and it's a submarine, those are probably oxygen tanks. I'm not entirely sure what these are, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But let's go ahead and move on to this next scene, and this scene seems pretty different from the other trailers. You're moving, it looks like the camera is positioned to move through a vent. It's what it looks like. It looks like you're moving through a conveyor belt or something like that. And I don't know if this is just first person view of an animatronic moving through, or if it's actually the player moving through. And you know how Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is, if you ever seen gameplay on that? If you click on the door, you get this little running animation, and if you run back, you get another running animation. If you open the closet doors open on their own like that. And maybe you can click at where you want to go. Like, people are thinking this game's going to be free roam, but maybe it's probably like a click and move type thing, like how Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was. You click there, and animation plays, and you go through the vent, and maybe if you go a wrong direction and you click that way, in the middle of that, you'll get jump scared and you'll die or something like that. Maybe that's how the game will play out, but I don't know why these vents are here. It could be for the player, could be for the animatronic, but there is one thing I kind of want to point out. This scene with the camera moving through the conveyor belt or the vents, it's rocking left and right constantly, and it's looking up and down. So maybe that's the player panicking and running really fast, like trying to crawl as fast as possible through the vents, or that's just a crazy animatronic on its way to kill you, one or the other. But that's all I can make out on this little clip. Let's go ahead and move on to the next scene, and it appears we have some sort of animatronic that looks very close to Foxy. Now, there's actually a list of official animatronics in this game. I have a list of 10 of them right here, but the main 4 that pop up at the top, I don't know if this is like in a specific order or anything, but it's Baby, Ballora, Biddy Bab, and Anard. And then after that, it says Foxy the Pirate, Funtime version, and that's the only one that has Foxy in it. All the other ones is like Freddy Fazbear Funtime, Minorina, Spring Bonnie, you know, but this is Foxy the Pirate Funtime version, I'm assuming. And after that, it actually says deep below ground, so that's basically telling you the game is taking place deep below ground, and it says deep below ground. So maybe you're in the deep sea ocean and you're in a submarine, like I said, or you're actually digging underground or something like that. I don't know how Freddy Fazbear's Pizza can afford to have an underground base when all the other Five Nights at Freddy's establishments, you know, had low budget and they couldn't get, you know, a lot of electricity for the place, and that's why you ran out of power a lot. But then again, I don't know if this game actually has to do with the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games, because people are saying this is a spin-off, this is canon, and it doesn't follow the actual story of the original games. Now, what you've been looking at here is another animatronic, and later on in the trailer you do see a full body version of this animatronic, but what we see is just a face and these arms moving up. But later on you do see that this animatronic seems to be a ballerina. Now, in this list of animatronics that I have, there are 2 names that I think it could be. It's either Ballora or Minorina, and the other names don't actually look like they fit her. So I'm assuming since she looks like a ballerina, that this animatronic is Ballora, but there is no confirmation as of now. Minorina sounds like a different animatronic that would probably be tiny or small, you know, because Mini and then Rena, probably like a small little animatronic or something like that. But I think Ballora is this specific animatronic right here. I'm just judging off looks and the sound of the name. That's all I'm doing. Now onto the next scene, we get some text and it says where memories sleep, and I'm guessing since it's deep underground and these are probably old animatronics, like they were an idea for the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, but they scrapped them or something like that. Maybe, but these animatronics look really polished. Like, it looks like they're super duper clean, so this has to be a new place. Next, we see an animatronic that looks very close to Freddy, and actually in this list of animatronics, it says Freddy Fazbear Funtime version. So it looks like there's old animatronics of, you know, previous Five Nights at Freddy's games, but these are Funtime versions. So I'm not sure if they have a separate name because this is like a parallel universe type thing, or if these are actually different versions of the original Freddy or the original Foxy. But in this list, I actually don't see a Chica. You know, this list goes on, but it says like Minorina, Spring Bonnie Adventure version, and it says Springtrap Adventure version. The only thing I find weird is that I don't see anything that's related to Chica, so I'm not sure if Chica is part of the game. This just isn't a full list, but I know for sure these are animatronics that are in the game. Next up, we get more text on the screen, and it says anger is restless, and it sounds like these animatronics have a job to do and they're mad and they want to do something with it. I'm just guessing that right off the top of my head. And then we go to the next scene, and it appears that we're looking at a hand of the baby animatronic, and it seems to be holding the microphone. You can see that the fingers are moving very slowly right there, and that means these robots, these animatronics, have intelligence and they actually feel anger. Like when that text came up saying that they have restless anger, that animatronic is squeezing the microphone slowly. And I'm thinking he has some kind of rage and wants to get revenge. Something about that, but these animatronics are angry, I'm guessing. Now next up, we have some more text come up, and it says, and secrets don't keep. Now, remember how it says this is deep underground? I think these animatronics were kept underground as a secret for some reason. Whatever purpose it's for, it's not meant to be seen by the public. And I'm not going to go too much in depth to it. I might do some theory videos later on, but for now it's a secret, and these animatronics want something. They're used for something and they are angry. Now, I'm not sure if you guys recognize this, but in the beginning of the trailer, somewhere around the intro, you can hear a faint voice in the background say, "Don't hold it against us." Now, I'm pretty sure that's the baby animatronic talking, but remember how in previous Five Nights at Freddy's games where there was children's souls stuck inside the bodies of the animatronics? Maybe that's one of the souls talking out loud, and it's saying something along the lines of, "We don't mean to hurt you, so don't hold it against us. We're just robots programmed to kill you, but the children inside don't mean to harm anyone." It's either that or this baby animatronic is actually the one controlling them. Kind of like how the marionette did to the other children in the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games. And I'm guessing this baby animatronic is the new Freddy, like the leader of the pack basically. And these four you see behind baby, I think they either might be the main four animatronics, but there is one thing I want to point out. Let's go ahead and back up here for a second, and you can look at this animatronic on the left, the one that looks like Funtime Freddy Fazbear, or Freddy Fazbear Funtime version. You can kind of see he's holding a puppet. It looks like a very small puppet, and if you go over to this next scene, later on, the lights actually come on and you can see some blue, and you can pretty much tell that this is Bonnie. But why is it like a puppet, like a handheld puppet type thing? And now that I think about it, when you go back to the list, you see something that says Spring Bonnie Adventure version. It's not Funtime version, it's Adventure version. And maybe Adventure version is maybe short for like a smaller animatronic. And right here in the back, you can see this ballerina animatronic, and I'm just gonna assume that's Ballora, and then the face just gets closer to the screen, or the camera zooms in on baby's face, and then baby just lifts up her head, and then the eyes glow, and then you can actually see the side of her, you know, her temples move. So it's like power is going to her eyes or something like that. And these eyes are glowing on their own, like for robotic reasons. I don't think it's actually glowing because there's demons inside. Like in the previous Five Nights at Freddy's games, you'll see like their eyes glowing white or something. Maybe that's because they're in scan mode. Maybe this is like a newer version since they look like they're shined up and they have, you know, moving parts and they look more high-tech than the previous animatronics. Because typically animatronics, they have like maybe one skull and like some moving eyes, and they have like a little mask of fur that goes around them. These guys have separate parts and they move, and they have separate little individual cheekbones and arm pieces and shoulder pads. It's really weird and bizarre, honestly. I don't know why these were designed like this. Like, why are these looking so deadly? Who designed these things, honestly? And basically, at the end of that trailer, it just shows the baby animatronic just jiggling around, having a seizure, and you can actually go frame by frame and look at these parts that are moving really fast, like it's having a seizure, like it wants to explode, but it can't. Now this next text is going to come up and it says this fall. Now people are going to assume that this game is coming out in the fall, but judging by, you know, Scott Cawthon's previous games, he has released demo versions, or he has released games, like full-on games, earlier than he announced before. I think he's done it for like maybe Five Nights at Freddy's 2, how like, you know, he said the game was coming out on a certain day, but instead he released it like, you know, certain days later or certain days before the expected date that everyone thought it was going to come out, you know? I think it's going to come out this summer, you know, like maybe within the next 3-4 months maybe. But I wouldn't be surprised if it released like 2 months from now, honestly. And last but not least, we hear a little bit of a sound clip. I'll go ahead and play it right now.
You don't know what we've been
I don't know if anybody heard it right, but I think it said, you don't know what we've been through. Now, the key word in here is we've, like we have. Now, it's not going to be just this one animatronic. It's going to be all the animatronics because it's saying we. So I'm thinking this animatronic is trying to lead all of these other animatronics out. And basically, this is the leader of this little animatronic group thing they got going on. And they want some kind of revenge, or they're mad at something. They want something. That's what these animatronics want. They want something. That's pretty much the last bit of the trailer, guys. So that's everything I can break down step by step. But there is one thing I actually noticed along with this video. Since this Funtime version of Freddy Fazbear is holding a puppet, maybe those other puppets you see when you're inside the submarine or the ladder or some kind of elevator you're going down, maybe that Funtime Freddy could use those puppets, and maybe those puppets will get loose and run around everywhere and scare you, and that's more animatronics you have to deal with. Like, this list of animatronics that I see shows up to 10. And I'll just go ahead and like show you the list again just so you can read it over. But, you know, you got Baby, Ballora, Biddy Bab, Nard, and then you have Minarina at the bottom. And then you recognize these other names, but they all say Adventure version, Funtime version. But there is one thing we didn't go over. It says Springtrap. Why is Springtrap part of this? Now, there's nothing about Springtrap in this trailer, but it says Springtrap on this, you know, this list of animatronics in the game. I don't know how Springtrap plays into this, so if Springtrap is in this game, like the original one, then it has something to do with the past Five Nights at Freddy's games, and then that's going to get even more complicated. Because if this is a different version of Springtrap, like if this is a Funtime version of Springtrap, like maybe it's a typo, then I'll get, you know, the story is probably just starting over, it's brand new. If this is the original Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's 3, then this could link with the past stories, and that makes you wonder, why were the first 3 games so poor? Like, why was the pizza place establishment or the haunted horror attraction so low budget? Why was it so low power? Why did it not get a lot of money? Maybe all their money goes to this facility and they've been hiding it underground if Springtrap, the original one, is in this game. If it's a different Springtrap, then we're going to have to look over at, you know, a new timeline. Maybe this is just a time paradox and it's totally different from the first original 4. Oh, okay, that was a lot. So after 17 minutes, I'm finally done with this whole video. You guys can go ahead and do your regular routine with YouTube, but I really like to thank you guys for watching my entire video, or at least listening. This took me a lot of time and research, so if you could, please subscribe if you want to see more Five Nights at Freddy's content. I also make other gameplay videos like Call of Duty. I might do some Gmod later, but I'm going to start doing more Five Nights at Freddy's videos, so if you're new to this channel and you want to see Five Nights at Freddy's content, subscribe to this channel. It actually helps out a lot. Also, if you actually want to notify me whether there's a new trailer out or if Scott Cawthon updated his website, you can follow me on Twitter and, you know, tweet at me, say, hey, Game Nut, there's a new trailer out, go check it out, and then leak it to me. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you're actually excited for this game. Give it a dislike if you actually hate the game or if you hate the video, and let me know why in the comments below. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you guys go on with your day, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.